Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm doing Camus here, back again with another banger video. Right now, I'm going to be talking about how I ended up moving to Japan. What was my thought process throughout the whole entire shebang. Before I moved to Japan, I was a college student in the Washington, D.C. area. And from there, I was like a year into my program. And when you go to community college in the States, you're usually there for 2 years. I was there for 2 years. And so after I finished my first year, I was kind of thinking about where I wanted to apply in terms of schools. After I transferred from community college, my brother, he went to a school in the area. I always knew that I wanted to go to a school outside of my hometown. You know what I mean? Um, I lived in DC for a majority of my life. My sister and my brother, they both go to school in the area, and so it's like I've always been the person that's like I can't really be here for too long. I need to go explore the world. Um, so before Japan even happened for me, it was kind of like New York. I need to figure out a way to go to New York and get that situated, or Chicago. Um, I was fully committed to doing that. And I'm like, mind you, I'm like 20, 21. I'm currently 22 right now, but during this time, I'm like 20, right? And so I'm like, I'm gonna be living that young New York lifestyle. I'm gonna be doing that shebang bang. And I was like, okay, um, let me get some money going for me. You know what I mean? I was really just because while I was in community college, I was getting paid to go to college. So like they paid me a whole like thousands and thousands of dollars to go to community college, and everything was free for me. And Yeah, I didn't have to pay anything to get through the first 2 years of my education, and they actually paid me. So I'm actually using some of the money that I got from community college in order to pay for my situation here in Japan. But that's kind of fast forwarding it a little bit. Originally, I was supposed to go to Chicago. I was supposed to go to New York, but then as things became more and more explicit in my situation, where I'm like, I'm just not gonna have enough money. Like it really boiled down to how much money I was gonna need to actually survive in New York. I paid 600 for this right here, my apartment. You guys might have seen the apartment tour video, but I know I probably would have been paying like 1,000 a month to live with roommates. You know what I mean? And like it kind of really dawned on me the quality of life that I'm fighting for in the States. Um, and so it kind of was always for me a juggle of whether or not I could even afford, and if I really really wanted to go to school in the States like that. You know what I mean? And so I ended up thinking about going back to college in Japan, because when I first graduated high school in 2020, I actually did come here. But then I ended up dropping out and going back home because it was just kind of too hard because of COVID. And so I was able to come back here, and I think it was like a year before I I started school here in Japan. It was a year before I started school in Japan, and once I made that decision that like I am going to go to Japan a year in advance, every single thing I did was for that ambition. I did not buy any drinks, other substances, or anything. I was completely just like a lot more just like financially situated. I cooked at home as much as I could. I got free meals from my old job. I got free meals from the homeless shelter that I volunteered at because I was in the kitchen a lot, and I tried to drive my nice car and drive the speed limit so I didn't get any tickets. You know what I mean? And so a lot of my ambitions for my initial reasons for why I wanted to go to school in Japan was actually for finances, truly speaking. And once I did that, I was already doing a lot of the things I was gonna do in order to like pay for school in New York or Chicago or any larger city that I was going to. And I was just working, and then I think some of the things that made my lifestyle a lot more different and more reasonable in Japan was that I was reaching out to my Japanese connections a lot more. Like I said, I came here in 2020, and so I was just like hitting up a lot of my friends at my previous school. I was hitting up some of my old like coworkers that like had some resources for me, um, and like I was committing so much of my time to one, just getting coffee with people, working on scholarship essays with some of my old bosses that were kind of in the U.S. Japan space, um, researching apartments and figuring out how to, what's it called, quickly figure out housing once I get here, you know, and and then I always like looked up on YouTube. You guys are on YouTube watching this Japanese content too, and I'm like, you could always just keep using YouTube to learn more. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. I was like, apartment tours. How do they furnish it? What is the average square meterage? What can I get for X amount of money that I want to spend on my apartment? I pay $600 for my apartment. And some people might have a budget that's higher. Some people might have a budget that's lower. Look for apartments that you could afford. You know what I mean? Um, a lot of if you're a foreigner, more often than not, you're gonna have to have like some type of accommodation, and you don't have your parents here. A lot of Japanese people, they live here with their parents, but you're gonna either have to get a share house, your own apartment, maybe student accommodations. But even still, you need to figure that stuff out. You know what I mean? Whether it be like language school, whether it be like college, whether it be like a job, you still got to figure that out. So that's what I was doing. I spent like a lot of times during the week, like just on the housing website. If you want to look up like housing listings, and apartment listings for rent, look up suumo.jp. That's sumo.jp. I was always on there, and I get to figure out what type of housing market I'm really trying to get myself into, because once I came down, I immediately reached out to a realtor, gave them the specifics that I'm looking for. I don't want to be on the first floor because Japanese apartments are really known to be roach and like critter infested once you're on the first floor. So a lot of people just say like that and above, you know what I mean? And then sometimes you want a space for your laundry machine and your refrigerator. Some apartments don't have that. So there's a lot of things that you have to do in order to be explicitly clear with your realtor once you're doing that. So that's what I was doing when I was back home. I was like looking at what does it mean to like find a comfortable accommodation once I'm finally here. You know what I'm saying? So that was what I was really doing. And then on top of that, I was figuring out how to financially situate myself month to month. So what does the commute look like for me from home to school, and try to minimize that as much as I can. How much trying new recipes back home, and trying to figure out ways that I could save money on the groceries and like eating as a whole, and then accommodating myself so that I could live a lot more frugally here and be able to just like situate myself financially, because that's like the main thing. Just working hard while you're back in the States, learning what your financial expectations are going to look like once you get here is very important. And a lot of your efforts should go into like figuring out your visa situation, who's going to sponsor you, and then again housing, and then like your month to month expensive. If you're trying to get, and that's like how I did it. That was like my main purpose while I was just preparing for a whole year. Like, what does it look like when I'm dealing with realtors, and how much am I gonna have to pay up front? You know what I mean? I paid 3.5, you know, and then I pay 600 a month, you know what I mean? And it's notorious Japan is gonna always have like a crazy upfront cost when it comes to apartments. So that's one thing that you gotta really be prepared for financially. And again, guys, I am a student, so I get to ask for money from scholarships. And when I'm saying like, yo, I need the money, I need to get this done, I need to get this done, and I know I'm the perfect candidate to do that, that's what you need to reach out and say to people. You know what I mean? The money's already out there. You got to figure out the ways to get it. And that's what I was doing back home. I was like, yo, I'm going to apply to this scholarship. I'm going to bank on this. I'm going to get on that. And I'm going to have a good life here. You know what I mean? And like, there's certain characteristics that like allowed me to really just be like, yo, if I'm hungry for something and there's a question that I can't really solve by myself, I'm going to figure it out. So that's why I was always asking YouTube, like, yo, YouTube, like, what's up with the Japanese housing financial situation? Or is it like commute wise when it comes to like the hours of 8 to 10? How do I schedule my classes around those commutes? And there's so much you could really figure out if you just ask the right questions and know how to use the internet properly. A lot of it is just basic research. You know what I mean? Basic research. If you got a question, if you're not where you need to be yet, figure out how to get more money, how to apply for more scholarships, how to apply to that language school you want to go to, how to apply to that Japanese university you want to go to. What is the upfront cost of moving into a Japanese apartment? What is the average cost for the space that you're trying to move into? How much do you spend on groceries? How much do I need in order to like how should I say, financially secure myself on my application form for my visa? How do I apply for a visa? How who do I need to get in contact with in order to apply for a visa? Is the visa application online? Is there any assistance with visa applications? What is the timeline for the visa applications? What is the timeline for my school? And these are all the questions that I'm asking right now, and I'm just trying to like spill them out to you because personally, when I was back home, there's a lot of things that you gotta ask and a lot of things you gotta do. If you're here right now, you want to go to Japan, and then actually being in Japan, this is the world of questions that you gotta ask. And I was doing that for like a whole year, and then every single day I would show up asking another question, asking YouTube what the fuck is going on, apartment tours, what to do, da 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 da, you know. And so it's like, be curious, really want that shit, start asking the questions. If you don't know if you can figure it out by yourself, ask the people to help you come up with an answer. When I couldn't financially figure it out by myself, I mean, I worked really, really hard and I saved up a lot of money, and I'm pretty comfortable right now. But I still need the financial support because through my scholarships, like I still need them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to be here without them. You know what I mean? And so if there's roadblocks to your ambitions, it doesn't matter if it's Japan. If there's roadblocks to your ambitions, you got to figure out ways to get past them. I'm 22 right now. One of the greatest qualities that I think I'm able to bring to a lot of the work environments and academic environments I'm in is that, like, if there is a question that I don't know the answer to, I will find the answer. If you haven't seen The Pursuit of Happiness, fucking Will Smith worded it perfectly, but that's basically what he said. Like, if there's something that you want, if there's an answer you don't know yet, find the answer and ask appropriate questions. And even if, and that's, I just really wanted to continue my education. I just wanted to continue my education in a foreign country. I really just wanted to continue my education in the cheapest fashion that I knew possible, which was relying on these Japanese scholarships that I looked into while I was in the States. And then Japan is just cheap for Americans. So that is like almost how and why I ended up moving to Japan. I really wanted to get it out. I don't know if I did the best job of explaining like the timeline and everything that I did, but like, again, there was so much. It's so hard to really finally condense like a year's worth of progress into like a 10-minute video, because again, like, these were like days, months, weeks, years that really came into making this situation happen. So it didn't happen overnight. You guys got to put in the work. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions down in the below. People are really active in the Discord. A lot of the times they're able to help you, but even still, refer to my YouTube channel, look on YouTube, research it, boom, boom, boom. The answers are out there for you, buddies. Peace and love you guys, appreciate it.